Good morning, everybody, and welcome. This is our regular commission meeting of the Mason County Commission for September 24th. We're going to go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Kevin, would you do us the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I actually consider it an honor, so
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next up is item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. You have correspondence coming before the commission?
We do. The Washington State Department of Transportation sent a letter regarding pedestrian improvements for State Route 106 in Union. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following: cannabis license renewal notices for Belfair Cannabis Company and T&W Brothers Farm LLC, liquor license renewal notices for Sunlight Canyon Cellars, Quality Food Center number 101, Model T Pub and Eatery, Gerald's Cove Marina, the Ridge Motorsports Park, and Third Generation Limerick Market. The City of Bremerton sent a letter requesting a formalized agreement for regional wastewater service for the Belfair Urban Growth Area and southern portion of the Puget Sound Industrial Area.
Okay, excellent. Next up, item number 4.2, Mason County Historic Preservation Commission, open positions, news release. Who's handling that today? Mark?
I'm rebooting my computer, so I can't read it. So
You got it? Commissioner Schutte will cover
thank
you.
you.
Don't
I
worry, he's
appreciate
got your back.
Let's see here. The Mason County Commissioners are seeking applicants to fill 5 open positions on the Mason County Historic Preservation Commission. The major responsibility of the Historic Preservation Commission is to identify and actively encourage the conservation of Mason County's historic resources by initiating and maintaining a register of historic places and reviewing proposed changes to registered properties. They also work to raise community awareness of Mason County's history and historic resources and serve as Mason County's primary resource in matters of history, historic planning, and preservation. Responsibilities of the Commission also include administering the Heritage Grant Program and the Historic Plaque Program. Commission members serve 3-year terms and meet on the second Thursday of each month at 2 p.m. at the county offices in Shelton and via Zoom. There are currently 4 open positions and 1 position which will expire in November 2024. Applicants must be residents of Mason County. Interested persons are encouraged to apply for this commission by completing an advisory board form on our website or by calling the Commissioner's office at 360-427-9670, extension 419. Positions are open until filled. All interested applicants should contact Luke Viscuzzi, staff for the Historic Preservation Commission, prior to applying at 360-427-9670, extension 282, or by email at hpc@masoncountywa.gov.
Excellent, thank you. Is there any other correspondence or organizational business come before us today?
There is none.
Okay. Next up, item number 5, open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity if you're a citizen out there or anybody that is not part of the staff. No. If you'd like to talk to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda, this will be your opportunity. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak, and there's 15 minutes total, so if you don't need the whole 3 minutes, please don't use it. With that being said, if it's on the agenda, we ask that you wait. You'll be given an opportunity to talk when that item does come up. But if it's not on the agenda, I'm going to start with the in the room first. Please raise your hand. I will call on you and we'll ask you to state your name and perhaps where you're from. With that being said, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on an issue not on the agenda? Please.
Pleasure to be here. Dean Jewett, lifelong Mason County resident. It's been a minute since I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to chat with you all. I'm kind of going to give you the state of Mason County address, in my opinion. That may not necessarily reflect everybody's opinion. Imagine that. I want to talk about the railroad camps. We all did a tour up there not too long ago. Well, it's kind of been a little bit. A lot of the camps, a lot of effort was put into cleaning up the camps, but if you take a walk back up there, the camps are starting to fill back up again. And as information I got from our county manager, a 5-gallon bucket of human feces can contaminate 13 acres of shellfish. So is it really the septic tanks that we have concerns about, or is it the unsanctioned and illegal camps flowing in there that pushes us at that threshold? I think the county does a great job on their permit, or on their septic system overview, making sure that people are in compliance, especially the ones that live on the water. So I would like to see something done with those camps to get the cleanup and then to get them posted and to make sure that we follow up with it. I'm probably getting close to my 3 minutes. Where's your, oh, you got to put it, I get 3 more minutes.
150.
Okay. So everybody's probably heard of the jungle. That's over in Olympia. Okay, it's a great big area that's just a blight of Olympia. You realize that they're going over there and they're going to spend 4 weeks of cleaning up the camp. So they're cleaning up a camp, but they're not doing anything with the people that live in the camp. So, I mean, you got a ship at the bottom of the ocean and you're throwing rocks on it, the ship's already sank. What good is it going to do? We're just going to go back there and clean it up again. Is that same thing going to happen to the railroad? Is it going to happen to Goldsboro Creek? There's active life camps up there. I just want to make sure that we're aware of that. County buildings, Brewer Park on the one end by the county building with the VFW, constantly getting taken over. I know people go and clean it up in the morning, but you know, there's construction and stuff going over there. They're doing some work on the building and they have to deal with that. I'm not sure that that's what we need to do. What I'm wondering about, is there a task force? Is there a cleanup? Is there somebody that's responsible for result-driven funding for nonprofits and the individuals that deal with these? And I don't like to use the word homeless. I like to use street people, because there's a lot of good homeless people that need the resources that we have available. And we have a lot of available resources that they use and get themselves lifted out of their quagmire. But there's individuals that don't use the resources and continue to be in there and cost taxpayers a lot of money and create a lot of negative behavior. Am I over?
Nope, you're good. Alarm will go off.
Okay.
10 seconds.
What's that?
You got about 10 seconds, but I'll give you.
Can I get those put back on? No.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. So, anyway, those are just my opinions. I'd like to see some positive direction on that. And again, I appreciate being here. Thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And now it's time. All right, is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak on an issue that is not on the agenda? Please raise your hand so I can call on you. You'll be given an opportunity. I see none. Is there anybody in Zoom that would like to speak to the commission on an item not on the agenda? If it's not on the agenda, now's your time. Please raise your hand or unmute yourself and I will call on you.
I didn't understand.
So I'll say it again. If there's anybody on Zoom who would like to speak to the commission on any item not on the agenda, now's your time. Please unmute yourself or raise your hand, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, we will continue on. Next item up is item number 6, adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded for the adoption of the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any against? The motion carries. Next up is approval of the minutes. We have none, so we'll move on to approval of the action agenda. The action agenda will be read to the public in its entirety. After it's read into the public and into the record, you'll be given an opportunity to ask questions if it would help you decide to have something taken off for a separate vote. But if you would like to have time to testify, or you have would like to see a separate vote of the commission, that'll be your opportunity just to have it removed, and then we will handle it at that point. I will be reading item number 8.1 through 8.3. Commissioner Schutte, if you wouldn't mind, 8.4 through 8.6, and the remainder by Commissioner Trask. With that being said, item number 8.1, approval of the warrants of treasurer's electronic remittance, claims clearing fund number warrants number 8107317 through 8107717. The amount $2,232,261.12. Direct deposit fund warrants number 109504 through 109911. The amount $889,008.86. Salary Clearing Fund, warrants number 7708-362 through 7008397. The amount, $1,196,268.02. Item number 8.2, approval of a resolution rescinding resolution number 2024-031 to deactivate the state of disaster for Mason County Fire Protection District number 12. Item number 8.3, approval for the chair to execute a County Road Administrative Board CRAB Rural Arterial Program RAP project prospectus contracts for the Bear Creek to Watto Road Culvert Replacement Project at milepost 6.18 and the Cloqualum Road Improvement Project from milepost 6.60 to milepost 7.80.
Mr. Chair, item 8.4, approval for the county administrator to issue a request for qualifications for feasibility study for the possible purchase of Mason Lake Camp. Item 8.5, approval for the chair to sign professional services contract extension for real estate services with Richard Beckman Realty Group LLC for a 2-year extension set to expire October 27th, 2026. And item 8.6, approval for the Public Works Director to procure and execute an on-call agreement for engineering services for the 2024-2026 calendar years with an option for the Public Works Director to extend an additional year, the contract annual maximum payout not to exceed $200,000 with board approval.
Item 8.7, approval for the chair to sign the project completion amendment to the Public Works Board contract number PC 20-96103-157 for the Belfair Sewer Extension. Item 8.8, approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. to consider approving the franchise agreement between Mason County and River Haven Recreation, Inc. to construct, operate, and maintain their water system along West Haven Drive, Schaefer Park Road. Item 8.9, approval to award funding for the .09 Rural County Sales and Use Tax Fund Number 103 to the Economic Development Council in the amount of $115,000. Item 8.10, approval for the contract with North Mason Regional Fire Authority to expand the Mobile Integrated Health Program in the amount of $150,000.
Now, these items have been read into the record, into the public. Is there anybody has any questions regarding any of the issues that would help them to decide whether to have it taken off for a separate vote? If so, please raise your hand. If there's anybody in the audience, please raise your hand on Zoom or unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you if you have a question regarding what was just presented. Hearing none, are there any items that we'd like taken off for a separate vote? I'm going to go ahead and ask for item number 8.2 and item number 8.9. Yes.
I thought I saw somebody unmute themselves in the bottom right-hand corner, so I'm not sure if they had.
Did somebody unmute yourself on Zoom? Say your name, please.
I think he was
Montano?
just connected.
Oh, no, they muted.
We have none. Never mind. Okay.
Scared them.
Are there any other items anybody would like taken off for a separate vote? Anybody in the audience have an item they'd like taken off for a separate vote? Anybody on Zoom? Hearing none, we will go ahead and continue. Item 8.2 and 8.9. Let's take it off. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the action agenda as written with the exception of item 8.2 and 8.9.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for the approval of the action agenda as presented. Any comments? I'll go ahead. A little special thank you to Richard Beckman. You've done some incredible work. We appreciate and appreciate having you back on here. And also a little comment on the Mason Lake camp. We're looking forward to seeing what those results are and what our possibilities are, what we can do in order to help keep that within the public's hands. And we've had a lot of positive feedback, and we understand where the public stands on this, and we're going to try our best to help. Okay, hearing no further comments.
One more.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Item 8.7, want to thank the Public Works Board and the staff for all the work that they've done, and our staff for getting us to this point. This is exciting for me. I'm a board member on the Public Works Board, and to see the money that was not used go back out for the public, for other entities to use. So it's pretty exciting for me. So thank you.
Okay, so again, before us, we have a vote of the approval of the action agenda with the removal of 8.2 and 8.9. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next up is item number 8.2. Mark, would you read that for us, please?
Absolutely. So would you like me to read the resolution or
Sure.
just present the?
Just to bring it up so we can have an opportunity to speak.
Yep, so this is a resolution regarding declaration of disaster out for Fire District 12, which is located in the Matlock area. The disaster is actually concluded, and so we are closing that incident out with the state. And definitely want to give kudos to the individuals that stood up in that community and helped out in getting the fire district back operational. And really appreciate the public's involvement in that. So the resolution is the same resolution. I don't think I need to reread it. It defined the disaster. This is a recommendation to the commissioners to close the disaster out.
Okay. Any questions of the presentation? Any questions on Zoom regarding the presentation? Hearing none, I will open this up to public testimony. We have a commissioner from Fire District 12. Could you please say your name, where you're from, and let them know?
Trina Young, Elma, and I am the fire commissioner for Mason County Fire District 12. And I wanted to come here on behalf of our Board of Commissioners to ask that the county rescind Resolution 2024-31. And I wanted to just thank you all. MCFD 12 began this journey on May 17th when we lost our insurance, and then our entire Board of Commissioners the very next day. We are grateful that the county stepped in with a declaration of disaster for our failed district. It is my understanding that this was the first such declaration ever in the nation. It took courage and innovation for the county to take this step, and our fire district and our community are eternally grateful that you did. Your actions enabled us to begin the rebuild of our valuable emergency services system. The Department of Emergency Management was responsible for getting us on our feet and guiding us down this new road, now officially called disaster. Their help was critical to our survival, and we are grateful to them and the county for their service. As soon as the disaster declaration was established, we immediately asked for volunteers, and 25 generous community members stepped up to the plate to begin training, first as CERT volunteer responders and then as fire department volunteers. The majority of them are still with us, and just 2 weeks ago began their training at Fire Academy, and soon will begin EMR and EMT training. We are so proud of them. After the disaster was declared, we had keys made to enable access to the facilities that we'd been locked out of and apparatus. And then as we assessed the state of the disaster, we embarked on the cleanup of the facilities, repair of apparatus, none of which were operational, and replacement of stolen equipment, which included just about everything. We worked with multiple agencies, authorities, and the county to restore our fire department to the public it serves. The new Board of Commissioners instituted new policies, restored transparency, and gave the public back its voice. And through hard work and a few miracles, 11 weeks later, we obtained insurance again. With the help of an interlocal agreement with West Mason Fire District 16, we are now operational on a limited basis. Our volunteers are responding to calls, making assessments, and with the help of West Mason, our citizens are receiving life-saving care and fire protection. Therefore, we no longer are in need of the protection of the disaster declaration, and we ask that it now be deactivated, as we are proudly standing on our own thanks to your help. I want to take a moment to thank the many people who supported our community during our quest for new leadership. Mason County has the most wonderful staff. They do their jobs with kindness, thoroughness, and respect. I personally peppered them for 2 years before I got involved with many public records requests, and every single one was responded to in a professional and timely manner. They excelled in their duty and made a miserable situation hopeful for those of us pursuing the truth. Those people are Amy Brackman in Public Works, Jan Lusigan in from MACECOM, Jenny Muller in Financial Services, Michelle Crow in Financial Services, Tammy Byer in the Sheriff's Office, and Michelle Goldsby in the Sheriff's Office. I also want to thank the elected officials and staff of this county who came to our meetings, answered our questions, and supported us as we fought to regain public control of our special purpose district. Commissioners Netherland, Schutte, and Trask were very helpful. John Taylor, Bob Burbridge, and Tammy Wright from the Department of Emergency Management, Mark Neary, our Mason County Administrator, Sheriff Ryan Sperling, Assessor Patty McLean, and I especially want to thank our County Auditor Steve Dunkel. For a while, we thought he moved to Matlock. Not only did Steve attend most of our meetings in the last year, but he also took the CERT training with us and has gone above and beyond his duty to our citizens. Because of all of you, we are now able to look to the future as our fire district continues to rise from the ashes left by people who took advantage of their positions and access to public funds, but in so doing unwittingly gave us a gift. We learned through this process how much we all have in common and how much we all need each other. The gift they gave us was that of community and all that comes with it: love, friendship, compassion, support, and unity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there anybody else in the room that would like to testify on this issue? Hearing none, is there anybody in Zoom who would like to testify on this issue? If so, please unmute yourself or raise your hand and I will call on you. I see none, so I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of item 8.2 to approve the resolution rescinding resolution number 2024-031 to deactivate the state of disaster for Mason County Fire Protection District number 12.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded for the approval of a resolution rescinding resolution number 2024-031 to deactivate the state of disaster for Mason County Fire Protection District number 12. Comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. Just a word of thanks, Commissioner Young, for you being here with us this morning, and for the years of effort that you and your community put into getting your fire district back up and running. And I know Chief Brown is on the Zoom with us too, and it's great to have him back in that capacity. You all have overcome quite a bit in a very short amount of time in terms of being able to get in and actually regain control of the fire district. And so I think you all serve as an inspiration to us in public service and show us what can be done when you put community first and when you actually just get to business and put things together. And so just very grateful for you being here and for your continued service to the Matlock community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're honestly, your meetings are pretty boring now. But I'm glad that they are. You guys took a hall that was in a disaster. I mean, it was gross. It was. And you've brought a lot of pride back, I think, to your fire district. And Chief Brown, I want to thank you also for your help, the hard work that you've put in. It's pretty awesome to see where you guys are at and to think about where you're going and the relationships that have really truly developed out there is pretty awesome. So great job.
I will be voting in support of this and in support of the request of Fire District 12 to rescind the disaster. You guys have done an incredible job. Chief, you guys have carried a heck of a load. And the one thing I can say, after all this work and everything, I can look at you, smile, and say, job well done. Job well done, Chief. I'm telling you that we appreciate everything you've done, and you're standing as an example. If this ever happens again in an area, which we hope it never does, that this is how it needs to be handled and how it needs to be done in the professionalism that it takes to get to the next phase. You guys are really, really doing well. We wish you the greatest of support, and if something does happen, feel free to call on us, but I don't think you need to. You've got this. With that being said, Commissioners, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries, and the item is rescinded. Thank you, Commissioner. Next up is item number 8.9, approval to award funding for the 09 rural county sales and use tax fund number 103 to the Economic Development Council, EDC, in the amount of $115,000.
So, Mr. Chair, I will be recusing myself from the discussion and vote on this item.
Yep. Okay, is that good enough? Just, I read that in. Does anybody have any more question with it? I just wanted to give the opportunity for it to, for a recusal to happen. If there's any questions, unmute yourself. Anybody here? Hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and move on to a motion. Commissioner?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the award funding from the .09 Rural County Sales and Use Tax Fund number 103 to the Economic Development Council in the amount of $115,000.
I will second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the award of funding from the 09 County Rural County Sales and Use Tax Fund number 103 to the Economic Development Council, EDC, in the amount of $115,000. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
The motion carries. Next up, we have item number 9, which is other business, department heads and elected officials. Bless you. Are there any department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Please raise your hand, I'll call on you. On Zoom, are there any? Oh, here we go. Okay. Just took a second.
Yeah. Well, don't qualify for what
Didn't
you-
want to be the first one, that's all.
That's right, I was given some grace. Richard Dickinson, Public Works Deputy Director, Utilities Waste Management, here today to give you an opportunity to meet our new wastewater manager, Ralph Scott. Ralph, come stand up here. It was a long search, but we were successful, so commissioners, have at it.
Welcome, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in the wastewater field for over 35 years. Operations, maintenance, lab, so the whole gamut that entails that. Spent 4 years as a helicopter mechanic in the Air Force, and here today looking forward to an opportunity to, serve the public again, and try to do a good job, best I can.
I thought about just remaining silent, really putting you through it, but I'm gonna let you off there. Commissioners, any comments or hellos?
Yeah, just welcome. Glad to have you, Ralph.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, super excited to have you here, and it's been a long wait, and so we're glad that you're finally here.
I'm glad to be here.
You're part of a great family, the people you work with, and everybody here in the county. You'd be surprised how great this is, and we appreciate you coming here, and you won't be regretting it. It is a great place to be. But I'm warning you, the very next time you stand before me, there will be a pregnant pause that is horrible. We'll wait for you to speak. I'm just letting you off early because we don't want to chase you out. You just got here.
Yes, sir, I appreciate that, thank you.
All right, thank you and welcome. Yes.
So we've been searching for Ralph for over a year. I think that the unique part about Mason County that Richard doesn't talk enough about is the fact that we have pretty sophisticated and complex sewer treatment plants. And in order to operate those in compliance with the regulatory environment that we live in, especially in the critical areas in which we have these sewer plants, really takes an individual that is super knowledgeable and can motivate the team of folks that we have out there in the field monitoring those things. So super happy to finally have Ralph come to us. We've been calling him for a while, and he finally answered. But excited to see how we can move forward with this team. So thank you, Ralph, and appreciate it, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Wait, she's not done grilling you, I guess. Give it up there.
No, I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to Richard and his team also, because for the last year and a half, they also have been picking up obviously additional duties and having a bigger load, and so definitely want to acknowledge and appreciate. So yes, they also are very happy.
See, it wasn't that bad. Well, welcome.
All right.
Okay, next up, are there any other department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? How about on Zoom? Are there any department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? If so, unmute yourself, say your name, or raise your hand and I'll call on you. Any other department heads or elected officials wishing to speak to the commission, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, we will move forward. Next up, it's time for a hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open public hearing to consider adopting the resolution approving the 2025 annual construction program. Staff Mike Collins.
You don't look right,
I
Mike.
know. We got to get this straight. It's not.
Carefully disguised as Dave Smith.
Yeah. Well, it is Halloween. Good job. Where can I buy the mask? I like that guy. Look at that face.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good morning. I'm David Smith, for the record, Public Works Department, and I'm here to request the Board adopt the 2025 Annual Construction Program and the 2025 36-year Transportation Improvement Program. And as a background, the RCW 3681-121 and RCW 3681-130 requires the county to update and adopt an annual construction program and 6-year transportation improvement program each year. The annual construction program consists of funded projects to be designed and or constructed in 2025. The estimated budget is $8.8 million. $2.63 million is the county road fund, which means we're getting just over $5 million in outside funding sources. Those projects typically consist of road paving projects, gravel road conversions, and short span bridge works. On 7/10, the tip cap reviewed and approved the 6-year and annual construction program. And then the 2026-year transportation program consists of a list of projects that are proposed in the future. These projects are selected by various priority arrays and are matched up to funding sources. This list is proposed but not actually funded. And these projects these funding sources are Surface Transportation Funds, STP, Rural Arterial Program Funds, RAP, Bridge Replacement Off-System, BROS, Highway Safety Improvement Program, which is the HSIP funds. And on 7/10, TIPCAP reviewed and approved this list, and we're requesting the board to adopt today. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Before you go further, Mark, I need to ask you a question. This is being presented right now as though it's one hearing. Did we advertise 2 hearings?
I believe we do have 2 hearings, so
Okay.
it's 2 separate
So-
decisions. One is the annual.
But it
plan
also
and then
needs
the
to be
2
2 separate hearings.
Okay.
If
So-
we advertise it as 2 hearings, we have a duty to handle it in a professional manner.
And we did
So-
do that, so let's
Okay.
do the first one is the,
Okay.
let me look it up here. It's the public hearing to consider adopting resolution regarding the 2025 annual construction program.
So right now, is there anybody in the audience who would like to ask a question regarding the presentation of staff? We'll have a much shorter explanation of the next one to come before us, but on this one here, does anybody have any questions that would help them to figure things out? Hearing none. Is there anybody on Zoom who has a question from staff regarding their presentation? If you want to testify, we'll be giving you an opportunity to do that in a minute. Is there anybody who has questions for staff in their presentation? If so, unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Hearing none, then with that being said, I will open up public testimony. Thank you. I'll open up public testimony regarding the 2025 annual construction program. Is there anybody in the public who would like to testify on this issue? Yes, please. Please come forward, say your name, perhaps where you're from.
Phil Wolf, I'm from Allen. I'm the chairperson for the Transportation Improvement Program. I just want to thank Loretta, Dave, and Mike from Public Works, and other Public Works staff for putting an excellent job in putting together the annual construction program. The TIPCAP committee has had a chance to review it and was brought along by staff to through the whole process, and we wholeheartedly support it. So I appreciate the work out there, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to testify? If so, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. On Zoom, is there anybody who would like to testify? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself and I will call on you. Anybody in Zoom that would like to testify, raise your hand or unmute yourself, say your name and I'll call on you. Hearing none, I will close public testimony and move to a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the annual road program for 2025 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the annual road program for 2025 as presented. Any comments?
I'll have one at the end.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. The hearing's closed. Now we'll open up the hearing for public hearing to consider the adoption, the resolution approving the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, for 2025 through 2030. Mike, come on up again.
Okay.
Darn good math.
Well, I can read this again if you want.
Nope, just do a short form of what it is real quick.
Okay, so typically, our primary funding sources are surface transportation funds, rural arterial program funds, bridge replacement funds, highway safety improvement, HSIP, and these projects typically are not funded out past the element year, which is the annual construction. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Are there any questions for staff regarding presentation? If so, raise your hand, I'll call on you. Are there any questions for staff on Zoom? If so, raise your hand, I will call on you, or unmute yourself and say your name. Hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward to public testimony. Is there anybody in the public who'd like to testify at this time? Yes.
Yeah, again, I'm Phil Wolf from Allen, and our Transportation Advisory Committee wholeheartedly supports the plan. We had a public meeting in Belfair this summer too. That's part of what our TIPCAP committee does, is we reach out to the public along with Mason County staff. That was a good meeting, and we had really good input there. We also had the Department of Transportation there. I'd also like to mention how it's so important that Public Works has funds from the county, because from those funds they get matching funds from the Fed and the state. So you take $2 million and you turn it into $8 million. That's why it's so important that we have a budget. Also wanted to, many of you have probably seen the excellent work with wider shoulders in the north end, and now even more wider shoulders in the south end of the county. And bridge replacement, the chip seal project, or gravel chip seal, and pavement overlays. So, anyway, thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to testify? Please raise your hand, I'll call on you. Anybody in the room would like to testify, raise your hand, I'll call on you. Is there anybody in Zoom who would like to testify on this issue? If so, raise your hand or unmute yourself, say your name and I'll call on you. Anybody in Zoom who would like to testify on this issue, unmute, say your name or raise your hand and I will call on you. Hearing none, I will close public testimony and move into Commissioner deliberation.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program for 2025 through 2030 as presented, as well as move that the county engineer distributes copies of the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program for 2025 through 2030 to all the required agencies.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of a resolution approving the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, for 2025 through 2030, along with the addition of making sure the copies go out to the appropriate entities. Any comments? Now you're hit it. Yep.
Yeah, well, I want to thank the committee, the TIPCAP. We've got Phil Wolf, Tim Lincoln, William Harris, Don Progreba, and Blair Sherman. We have lots of vacancies also, so anybody interested, please apply, because this is such a critical part of what Mason County does and what our infrastructure does. So I definitely want to thank the committee people and staff, Loretta, Mike, Dave. You guys do a great job and appreciate you guys so much.
I'll echo those thanks. Phil, appreciate you making the trip down here today to be with us. Did you bike in today? I see your helmet there.
I bike part way, my truck's at the shop and so.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Bike from the shop here.
Well, with you on the tip cap and being able to provide that perspective, I think Mike Collins has implemented the largest bike lane program in rural Washington, and so we just call it widening shoulders, but I mean those are bike lanes, right? So, right, we don't want to. It's the best kept secret, I think, in the state. But yeah, I appreciate the effort there, and I think Will Harris is on with us this morning as well, so he's a tip cap member and. Staff, you guys have done a great job. I think one of the exciting things is, that this is a good opportunity for staff that have technical expertise to work with the community who might have, different interests and want to see certain things happen on our road program. We've brought things through this process like gravel road conversion, which is a huge bonus to people who live out in the rural parts of the community. And it's really exciting to see this happen and come into place. And also the ability to think forward about utilizing county forces on a lot of these projects and really making the best use of our funding that we have available to us and leveraging it to get other dollars into the county is really a positive. So this is a great 6-year plan. It's a great annual plan, and so go forth and build, right? Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, you guys got together and started pushing for a new type of program, along with Mike, the idea that we're gonna widen those lanes. There is a difference between a bike lane, which has different regulations, different things that we have to do in order to call it a bike lane. But this widening, the first time you try to ride a bike on there, you appreciate it, as he's a bicyclist over there. The first time you break down and you get to pull over, you appreciate it. The first time you walk on it and don't have to walk in the road, you appreciate it. It's been a lot of good work and hard work that's gone into it over these last so many years, and just know that it very much is appreciated, and so is the transformation from gravel to actually chip seal or whatever roads that we're producing. That's making a difference in the community. In a sense, it's like finally getting new roads, which we hadn't had for many, many years. So thank you to all of you for all your hard work. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The hearing is closed. Next up is board calendars and reports. Commissioner Schutte, if you would begin. Commissioner Trask, then myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a few things looking ahead. We'll be at the code enforcement workshop here a little bit later this morning. Also have Pack Mountain Board orientation later this week, as well as a Pack Mountain Board meeting. Have the Merriam Knight Sports Boosters dinner on Saturday evening. Back for briefings, and then I'm going to be spending some time out in the community with Loretta and team looking at some road projects. Back for our budget workshop, Skokomish community meeting to talk about next steps with our Army Corps project there. Let's see. Then I think I have some gaps there. Back BHASO staff check-in and briefings on the 7th ahead of our next regular meeting on the 8th. But just did want to acknowledge that I do have some family visiting from Europe. So Monica was an exchange student with Catherine and I 8 years ago, and she is back visiting with her now fiance Ricardo. They both work in finance in Poland, and it's a testament, I think, to our community that 8 years later, Monica still wants to come back and visit Mason County, and definitely, I think, holds a special place in her heart. And we're just super grateful to see her continue to grow and in her career and in her life and build her own family, and always knowing that Mason County is going to have a piece of her. And it's also nice to know that she still wants to come back and visit us. So that's very nice. So we have some fun things planned for this week and before they head out. But they also, like I said, they work in finance. So if anybody's hiring here in the finance world, maybe
everybody.
Yeah,
it's finance. We need you.
So, but it's great to be able to spend some time with them, and so we're just super excited.
Very cool. Yeah, and welcome. It is good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right, so later on today we do have our code enforcement and non-rep class comp study workshops. Meeting with a constituent this afternoon. Tonight is Braver Angels, Washington's Rural Urban Initiative meeting. And excited about that. It's a new look at how we can work together with everybody. You're not divided by parties or anything like that, so I think it's the direction that we need to go. Later on this week, I have Pack Mountain orientation. I'll also be going to that. It's Pack Mountain 2 days in a row, so Wednesday and Thursday are full of Pack Mountain meetings. Friday is hopefully I can get this right. It's County Wildfire Prevention Program meeting on Friday, also Public Works Board. Broadband meeting, we have our briefing and budget overview, Wasac Virtual Assembly. I have a de-escalation conflict resolution training for HR. More budget talks, also be testifying virtually with DNR about a timber sale that's coming up. Public Works Board Retreat is on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't forget about Oyster Fest coming up next weekend. So go there, eat food, spend money. It's all for a good cause. We have our briefing, Wasac Virtual Assembly, and our commission meeting on the 8th.
A few of the things, we were together at a few different things over the last couple of weeks. We attended the opioid stakeholder meeting. We were both there together. Let's see, I also, we had the food bank ribbon cutting, North Mason School District bond meeting, the finance committee meeting of the Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority, regular meeting of Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority. We had a special Board of Health meeting we were together, Mason Transit Authority meeting we were together, met with some folks out in Union, high school orientation, Women D luncheon, mobile health, thank you for that. It was a great meeting where we were talking about mobile integrated health that we're doing here. We had a membership drive at dinner at the Eagles in Belfair where we served quite a few people, had a lot of fun. Hopefully on the next one everybody can attend. Rotary meetings and Farm Bureau's annual. Coming up here we have North Mason facilities meeting tonight. I have code enforcement workshop coming up after this. Non-rep comp study is going to be after that today. Meeting with the realtors. I'll be trying to attend the library one because I haven't heard back, so I've got it scheduled in there to be there for at least an hour before I'll disappear on that one. Another bond meeting for North Mesa School District, politics in the park. There's a young man, Carter James, he's becoming an Eagle Scout. I always try to attend him when they invite me, and we have a lot of Eagle Scouts in Mason County. I tell you what, and if you don't realize just how incredible that is, it takes a lot of work. It is not easy, and I'll tell you, in my life, I've learned you can always hire an Eagle Scout. One time, I actually hired somebody from Harvard over an Eagle Scout, and I ended up regretting it because I should have thought about it. Why would a guy from Harvard be attending the position he was? So he ended up being let go, and we wish we had the Eagle Scout. So never again, whenever there's an opportunity. Law Enforcement Firefighter Board, budget workshops. I drop in on the Wasac meetings. I don't speak, I just drop in. Are we going to have an elected officials meeting coming up at all?
We do, in October.
Okay. I had it on my list here, and then more budget workshops, and we'll probably see there at Oyster Fest. With that, anything further? Yes.
Yeah, just one thing, Commissioner. So I think we need to have a briefing about Community Lifeline with Public Health.
I think we do too. Let's call for it.
So
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Dean approves.
Yeah.
So
Make that happen.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to look at some options with the funding that we provide. I'm super concerned with some of the things that we're hearing about how it's being operated, but also just recognizing that the funding that we do provide in large part goes towards supporting staff and seeing some of the issues that are coming out of there with paying staff or not paying staff, I guess, as it were. I have some serious concerns about that, and I think we need to get some sort of official response from the Community Lifeline Board as to what's true from their perspective and what isn't, and then I think we need to be decisive in our action as well.
So let's make that happen, especially. Agreed. Okay. Anything else? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.